I hope you can see me. My name is Raimondo from Sustainable Development Foundation. We are starting now the afternoon 2 sessions of the workshop. Most of you were with us this morning. I'm just watching the number of people who are connecting. We are around 50 people, but it's growing up. So welcome back to the workshop, UIC workshop on the opportunities for railways in digital platforms. This is, as you know, this is workshop. This is part of the UIC door-to-door project. This morning we had an introduction to the project, but also an introduction to the topic of the mobility as a service. I think it's been a very nice and fruitful session this morning. We had presentations from 3 very good speakers, and also we share some questions and topics. So I asked my colleagues to show if they can just turn on the camera, the speakers for this session. I can see Renzo. Good morning, good afternoon, Renzo. Welcome. I can see Jean-Baptiste Goujon, Joubert, Flores from Brazil. We are very glad to have you here with us. I can see Rahel, Kaenel. The other speakers are already there, but they should turn on their camera so that everybody can just see them. First of all, before we start, let me ask my colleagues to show the result of a very important and strategic question we made before lunch. The question was a very important question and strategic for the business, and it was about the characteristic ingredient of pasta carbonara. There is an Italian version official, and there are very fake versions. Let's see about the results. And as we can see, the results are quite particular, because cream was the answer that it was most together with eggs. So we are very sad to say that cream has won, but cream is absolutely wrong. If you make a carbonara pasta with cream, you will never have to tell an Italian person. But then we will organize a workshop only about this topic in the future. So let's go now to the serious part of this was, of course, a joke, but it was nice to have lunch thinking about this joke. This session now is about the best practices and about the success stories inspiring for future opportunities. So the goal of this session is to show what the railways and the companies are doing with MaaS and mobility as a service. And we have 7 speakers. I cannot see yet Camille. I can see Camille. Welcome, Camille. Thanks for being with us. So I was just introducing the session and saying that I will try and divide the session in 2 groups. The first 4 speakers, Camille, Vedel, Jean-Baptiste Goujon, Renzo, Iorio, and Rahel, and then we will have questions to them. This is a real workshop, so we ask people, connected people. We have now around 50 people that they can absolutely make questions directly, writing the questions in the question and demand on their dashboard, or they can raise the hand, push the raise the hand button, and they can also open up the camera or only the microphone to make a direct question. So you can choose between 2 possibilities. One is to write the question and everybody will see it, and the other one is to raise the hand possibility. Okay, for the speakers, let me tell you, without the rules, you have not more than 10-11 minutes so that we can have the question and we can have the possibility of debate. What I will do to remember, especially to the Italians like me that love to talk a lot, that you are going maybe out of time, I will take this small bell when you are around 9 minutes, just to tell you that you have 1 minute more. And if you insist, like going after 1 minute, I will take this one that is not exactly a bell. It's something much more noisy than a bell, and I will try to see. And if you go ahead, I will just let you understand that you have passed your available time. Okay, so The goal of this session, as to say, is to share best practices. Feel free of tell us what you're doing, and to the participants, feel free to ask technical, political, economical, strategic questions, whatever it comes to your mind. So we will start with Camille Vedel from Transdev. Remember that is, as you may know, it's very important transport company. If I'm not wrong, it was a former Veolia, and now it's Transdev, and it's very much engaged in mobility as a service. And Camille is responsible for this activity. So please, Camille, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Do you see my screen? Yes or no? Yeah, you see my PPT. Okay. Yes. And now,
can you put it in a full screen? Okay, perfect. Now we see it very well.
Great. Okay, super. Thank you. Just to let you know, I'm just moving. So I have a film here right now, taking out all my stuff from the apartment. That's why I'm a little bit like this. Camille Vedel, I am a MaaS project manager at Transdev, and I was responsible for Movizy that we launched this year in September. So Transdev is really involved in MaaS because we first take some parts in MaaS Global, the film that launched WIM at Helsinki, and also had other experiences over Birmingham, also in Belgium, etc., etc. And we also made some investment into another film called Transdev. And our first POC was the Ketenmobiliteit in Mulhouse that we launched in 2018, and then we launched Movizy. So just to start with Movizy, I will show you two key numbers that you can see on your screen. So the first question is, how many times has Movizy 1 been downloaded since 2016? I'm talking about Movizy 1. And the second question is, how many people live in the town of Saint-Etienne? As you may see on your screen, the two numbers are quite similar, meaning that it was really successful, Movizy 1, and we were in 2016. So to give you just an overview on this first project, the PTA of Saint-Etienne asked us to launch an application, a trip planner, multimodal trip planner in 2016, because Saint-Etienne was hosting some football matches during the European Football Championship. That we lost, unfortunately. And this first application as a multimodal trip planner, and we launched another application called MTickets. So the tourists and also the inhabitants of Saint-Etienne could buy some single tickets or a booklet of 10 tickets just for public transport. And the PTA in 2020 wanted to go a little bit further, and we launched a new application with a new design, as you may see on my screen, with an intermodal trip planner. That's a big improvement, and also more than 8 modes, public and private modes inside the application. And you have the possibility to buy for buses and tram, public transport, for bikes. You can rent a car sharing, book carpooling, and also book a taxi. And we developed 2 business models in this application, pay-as-you-go and post-payments. And I know that I don't have so much time, so I'll go straight to the point, to the quick videos I wanted to show you. So first, we develop a quick way to sign up inside Movizy, but we also allow the tourist or whatever to download the application and to have access to the information without creating an account, because maybe we have some passenger who just need the information and is not interested into buying inside the application. But if you want to buy, the first step is just to create an account with your email and your password. It's really quick, and it's just the first time you will buy, for instance, a public transport ticket or book a taxi, we will ask you your name, then your credit card, etc., etc. So it's really graduated. Then the second aspect of this application, as I said previously, is the trip planner. It's a real-time and intermodal trip planner. So on this example, you will see some solution mixing public and also private modes. You have the possibility to know also on how many times you will get to your point, taking car or taking bus or taking a bike plus walking. And also something really important, it's about crowdsourcing. We added before launching a movie, not because of COVID crisis. Previously, the crowdsourcing module was developing by our tech center, CTWay, for some comfort issues. But with the pandemic crisis, now it's really important to know if we are compliant with the security measures. And also, as you have seen on this quick video, you can know in real time if there are some delays or problems on your lines, and you are informed in real time. Then the third point is how I can buy my ticket. So in Movizy, you don't need to have a third application. You just stay in this one and you can buy your bus ticket, for instance. So as you see on the video, I can have an access to all the information in real time. I can check on the map where is my bus in real time. So for instance, there I zoom and I see that the tramway is moving and I have to hurry up and to buy my ticket. But no, don't worry. I have my application Movizy, so I can click on buy a ticket. And then when I enter into the bus or the tram, I just have to flash the QR code and it will generate another QR code that I will have to present in case of control. So that was for the bus. Then I also have for the taxi. So the user experience is really close to what you may know, for instance, with Joubert. So it's really easy. You just put where you are, where you want to go. You have some solutions that appears on the screen. You will choose the one that fits the more your expectation and also the price you want to pay. Then you book it. And once the taxi has accepted your reservation, you can follow the taxi on the map. So it's really close to, yeah, Uber experience. And if you had any trouble to find your taxi, you can call it and you have all the information to recognize it on the real world. And then another important point, it's about car sharing. Always the same. So if I want to go somewhere, I need a car. I don't have one, but I have my driving license. I search. So for instance, I am in Saint-Etienne and I am close to this station, Cité du Design. Okay, is there any vehicle available for this hour? I'm searching and I will have the answers on my screen. And as I said previously, I have already created my account. So I don't need to put my driving license or my credit card or anything because it's already done, just one. And then you will see on the screen that my reservation is booked. It's inside my application and I can find it quickly. And then when my reservation will start, I will approach the vehicle and with my app, I can open the doors and close it. Then another important point is about bicycle. After the coronavirus, I think bicycle is really important now. So you can check once again on the map where you can find a bike available, and you can also have access to the information. Is there any space to put back my my bike? And you can choose the formula you want and you pay up and you have the code to put inside the bicycle to get it. And it's okay. Up. And then another important point, it's about, oops, sorry, there is a little bit, the video is not the great one, I think. Sorry. Sorry, it was about train schedule in real time, so you can have access to all the information where your train is arriving, where it's leaving, at which time is there some delays. As you may know, in France, the monopoly of railway is owned by SNCF. So far, we just have access to the information. We cannot buy a ticket inside for now, but we are working on it. And as I said previously, CTOA, our tech center, is already working on selling train tickets through another application in the region Bourgogne-Franche-Comté, thanks to the implication, the involvement of the region that give the access to CTOA to do so. And then to last point, you can follow on real time your consumption inside the application. How much did I spend for the taxi, for the car sharing, for the bikes, etc., etc. And every month you will receive a monthly statement in your app and also by mail to check what you spend on the application, and you can monitor your consumption. And then a really important point for us, it's about the call center, because it's really great to talk about one unique application you have, but you also want to be as easier when you have problems and you don't want to call another one, etc., etc. So we created a unified call center that you can call anytime. It's 7 days a week open, and we built it before the law mobility that was voted in December 2019 in France. And we were right about one thing. It is that we created one first level, meaning that the call center can answer all your questions. For instance, how much is the bus ticket, where can I find a cash filling station, etc., etc. But when you have some troubles about your bill, for instance, the call center will share the ticket to the mobility service provider, because it is his responsibility to answer to this kind of problem. And I think that's all.
Thanks very much, Camille. We were perfectly in tune. So thanks also for the very good presentation and respecting the time. But more important than this is the content of your presentation. It's very good to learn what's happening in Saint-Étienne. I see already that there are a couple of questions in my chat. So please, I will keep the questions for the end of the first 4 speech. So I just remind everybody that they can write the question or just push the raise the hand button, and then they will make the question to the speaker. So Camille, thanks very much. This morning, Camille, we had, I don't know if you had the chance of being with us, but we had explained the difference between different levels of MaaS. So there was the journey planner as the very first step, and then the second where you can buy the services, and you can not only plan your trip but also buy the services. And the next one would be where you can have bundles and you can buy some packages. And so maybe you are moving towards that one. This will be my question that I will make to you later on. So thanks very much. And now I give the floor to Jean-Baptiste Goujon from SNCF. So we stay in France, and Jean-Baptiste is the head of sales and operational assistant, and working in particular with these applications and tools. So please, Jean-Baptiste, the floor is yours.
Thanks a lot, Raimondo. Do you hear me? It's okay?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Do you see my screen? On which one, since I have 2 screens?
We saw a Word document.
It's not the good one. Okay, so we change. No, it's not correct. If you don't mind, I will stay like this. Is it okay for the screen or not?
Not yet. So in the meantime, I think I asked my colleagues to try and help you. Okay, we see it now.
Yes, now it's working. Yes.
We see it now, so you just have to put it in a full screen mode, and it's perfect.
Hello. Is it okay? I'm not sure.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, it's okay.
Okay. So, as you mentioned, in fact, whoa, I have a. It's okay. So first, for the introduction, I wanted to give you an insight concerning the mobility distribution market and our analysis at we SNCF at eVoyageur. If you see clearly the slide, the value chain is really very dense. When you speak about distribution for the mobility market, you have the first part of audience provider with the GAFA, the content platform, the vertical search engines, and all these actors are, or not all, but few of these actors are aiming to go closer to the distributor level. So at the distributor level, you can find actors like us, but also Trainline, which is a competitor for the long distance market, and also competitors for the short distance. On the right, you have the operators, and these operators in the mass market now want to expand and to go beyond their natural market. You can see this with Joubert, which launched a transit application combining PHVs, bikes, but also public transport in the US. You have also among the carriers like us, like SNCF, new e-commerce for the French domestic market, and something very new, and it's what Camille showed previously. You have the local government transport agencies, which are now very active in this market. And in this position, in fact, the lines are really blurring. And for example, you have Apple, not in France but in the US, which has launched with the Washington Transport Authority an application to pay and to validate your ticket for the metro, for the public transport. So this market is very moving, very challenging, and in this market, you have actors that have massive that operate massive investments, and we are all on the Google dependence, so it's a main risk today. And what we measure as a risk, but it's also opportunities. You have the liberalization of the rail market. As Camille said today, it's limited to SNCF, but in the coming future, new actors will arrive in France, and so we already know that RENFE or Trenitalia will operate in France. And also, as you mentioned, evolution of the legislation with the low mobility makes the market very different, with a major evolution toward opening of the data. In the travel market, we have to face 4 major challenges. The way the customers expect today the travel experience. Real time is really a key word today. They want also to experience a seamless integrated trips.
Sorry, Jean-Baptiste, just a request. Can you make the slide bigger? Do you have some? Because we see that quite small, and we see the next slide also. So
okay, I assume, but unfortunately, that's what I wanted to change.
Now in this, maybe like this is a bit better.
Maybe it's better like this. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thanks very much.
Sorry, and I will, because is it better like this?
Yes.
Not good. Camille is not okay with you.
Well, because she wants perfection. We are more maybe used to this. No, I think that the problem is that you have 2 screens. This is exactly my problem. So you should disconnect one screen, but it takes too much time. So
no, maybe if you want, I will try. It maybe it's easier, and I will go quick just after. And so this way, it should be okay. Is it okay?
So Camille won. Now it's perfect.
Okay, thanks a lot. So concerning the okay, but I need just the good screen. Yes, it's okay. Yes, for the 4 major challenges, I was at the environmental issue. As we all know, people are very concerned with these issues, which is a good news for public transport, but also for bikes, scooters, and car sharing. Concerning also the variety of the offer, we have to face the challenge of different areas. Our application is not only dedicated to one area, to one market, but it's a national application. So we have to face areas where you have plenty of mobility offers, and you have to face also areas where there are really sparsely populated, and where you have, in many cases, car is the solution, or when you have public transport or other solutions, the technology is not all the time really mature. But things are changing really quickly. For example, Airweb and MyBus are actors that digitalize access to buses, to city buses, and due to the COVID crisis, we know that for Airweb, for example, they should reach the number of 40 cities to work with. So, and we also, and through Airweb or MyBus, we would have the opportunity to work with Transdev, for example. Also, Caro is a platform that enables us to connect to taxis, and they have a large platform with 100 cities in France. Maybe Raimondo, since you mentioned that you have that kind of analysis of the integration level, I can switch quickly. As you can see, Camille, I put the logo of your application, and you are really high. Just the difference with our strategy, with the SNCF strategy, is that we are eager to be a national actor when you are in a local market. But so you can see how actors are displayed concerning the different levels. And today we can say that you don't have a national actor at the level 3 of the MaaS application. Just a quick presentation of eVoyageur. We are a subsidiary of SNCF. We gather the long distance with SNCF or Rail Europe, and we also have short distance with the assistant SNCF. We've got few figures. Many tickets sold on our application and website. One thing to notice is that in 2020, for the first time, the turnover, the sales on the mobile market, on the mobile channel, are or is above the desktop channel. So it's really something new. It's a real turn in the way people use and book their tickets online. Concerning eVoyageur, SNCF, our core values, we are really aimed toward technology and innovation, and the target is to provide a seamless experience, the best in-class customer experience. And for this, what I could add is that we try to work not only in-house, but also we try to work with partners, and we have an acceleration program. And this year we decided to focus this acceleration program on actors, companies dedicated to the MaaS. And so we just announced the 2 startups that we will accelerate, that are Fluctuo and Airweb. So the Fluctuo is on the bike and scooter market. They gather data, but also provide API for this line of business. And Airweb, as I mentioned, is working on the digital how to digitalize the bus experience. Concerning the assistant SNCF, in 2019, last year, we launched this application. In fact, it was a revamping and an evolution of former application SNCF. This application was previously a merger of local applications, Transilien for the Paris area, and TER, so the regional train application. The idea of this new application is to be national, is to also go beyond the SNCF house. The name is not so intuitive, so explicit, but our motto is the open house, and so to aggregate other actors. You can see figures. We have a huge traffic, 40 million visits per month. So it enables us to have a really thorough view over mobilities in France, and also there is a really important weight of the Paris market. So the idea of this MaaS application is quite close to what Camille exposed, but not only for Saint-Étienne area, but national. What is interesting, and when you look at the actors on this market, I saw that for the Berlin authorities, they decided to have 4 different applications for the people visiting Berlin. So ticket, information, PHV, and also and GLB, sorry, the MaaS application. So we have a really different strategy. Our strategy is to gather all these offers in one application, and one major announcement was the deal with Joubert. So it's quite unique in the world. You can book a Uber inside Assistant SNCF with the same experience compared to the Uber application. But you are not we are not redirect from the SNCF application to the Uber application. You stay in the Assistant SNCF application. You can see also the other actors. So for taxi and PHVs, Karoo, car sharing, Caros, and BlaBla lines, and also you can find the regional trains in this application, of course. What we also announced, launch at the beginning of the year, was the new technology for the Paris area, so with Île-de-France Mobilité, the NFC technology. This way you can book and validate your ticket in Île-de-France with the application. So it's something really new. It's not a QR code technology. It's a NFC technology. So it's really easy, simple. You don't have to open your application, and you just push your phone on the validator. Okay, so Raimondo, I have still 1 minute, that's correct?
Maybe 2 or 3.
Okay, I try to do this in 3 minutes. This is the focus concerning multimodal and intermodal offer. Today, I think many actors, and I assume all actors, compare mobilities. They don't combine and still not enrich. So I will show you how we work to go from the second step to the third step. This is based on the figures that we collect in our application, and it's also based on internal studies we conducted with our users. Something you may have in mind is that, in fact, planification door-to-door is something really new. Today, people don't plan from A to B their trip. It's really scarce, it's really rare. It's more something divided, and it's not all at the same time. But all the actors are aiming to propose at the same time this combination of mobilities. So the figures for us to base our strategy, it's both the evolution of the market for scooters, for bikes that we see raising. It's also one kind of the distance of the request, and as you can see, we have half of the request under 20 kilometers, and so it's really urban mobility, and we can propose what we show in this picture, combination between public transport, bikes, scooters, or PHVs and taxis. And we also try to prioritize, in fact, the public transport. And since we are SNCF, we have a certain balance, a certain center in our strategy that is public transport. Also, we concerning the request, we looked at the way people request in the booking, and so it's really surprising that, in fact, there are few door-to-door requests. The majority of people request a station to station. So and few also people use map position. So you have to have this in mind when you build your strategy concerning door-to-door. So based on this analysis, we launched just last month a new offer. It's a planification service based on the API of Fluctuo to propose either multi-mobility, so you can compare a route between with bus and between bus and bikes or scooters, but also intermobility. So as you can see on the screen, you combine a scooter and a metro. So that's something really new, and we are eager in the future to duplicate this with also PHVs and taxis. For this, what is really important for us is to be sure that we respect these words, context, relevance, and to be reactive, since as we studied, people not always optimize their planification on the time aspect, but also a question of comfort, a question of easy way to operate their trip. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Your presentation was really interesting. I'm sorry is I pushed you, and I didn't want to show this one because the presentation is really interesting. And you also told us very clearly how you are moving up for the future, the next steps. And also you gave us also some tips about what to keep in mind. So it's very, very interesting. I already have a couple of questions for you, but if there are more, I will just collect and pick up some of them. Thanks very much. So I will give the floor now from France to Italy. I will move from France to Italy and ask Renzo Iorio from FS Group. FS has developed a Nugo, the application and the mobility as a service. So I've seen some similarities with SNCF assistant, but I've seen also some differences. So Renzo, tell us more about what you are doing with this very interesting exercise.
Thank you very much indeed. I hope you can listen to me. I am trying to charge the presentation. My screen is pretty narrow, so
we see your screen.
Yes, I know. I'm trying to charge the presentation. It's enough to.
Yes, we see.
So you can see it.
Yes, we can see it. Just put it on a full screen.
Yes, I'm doing it. If it works, does it? Hello?
Yes, it does. It has the same, but it's in the same modality
by itself. So I guess it's quite too much. If you see it, I can try to do that like that.
Yes,
to be sure.
It's okay.
Well, we as you mentioned, we moved more or less in the same approach that pushed the SNCF, and I really thank Jean-Baptiste for the very effective presentation he has done. The idea originally that we had was not exactly to move from the direct channel of Ferrovie dello Stato of Trenitalia, but trying to do something which was a bit much more a project detached from the direct channel of Trenitalia, mainly in order to assure this neutrality on the side of local transportation and other competitors in the train business in Italy. The idea was absolutely to be somebody who works around the journey planner activity, so combining all the public transportation offer in a given destination, propose to the traveler the best solution he can have, following his preferences that are both charged on his profile by himself when he's downloading the app, or proposing expressly each time he searches for a destination. We cover also, of course, not only the journey planning, but also the selling of a ticket, which as far as today is done through a QR code system, who allows both the control on board and both, of course, the automatic opening of gates at the metro, etc., etc. So as far as today, and this is a couple of years right now, we are providing door-to-door solution to our guests. Together with a travel assistant, which as far as today is working only with our sister company Trenitalia, who is providing, of course, the information concerning key delays, things like that. Unfortunately, the local transportation companies doesn't give us any relevant data, and so we are not able to assist the people in these cases. So we focused on, first of all, on trying to help people using public transports, making it smoother and easier to get the ticket, to know the services, and to somehow digitally integrating all the transport, in the sense that the transaction is unique even for a system of different providers. So if you go from my office to the house of my mother in Turin, I have to take at least three different carriers. I do only one transaction, providing me the three relevant tickets that allows me to do all the travel. And we gather train, ships, buses, of course, local transportation, including then parking, car rental, car sharing, bike sharing, and taxis. This was the first step of our evolution, mainly devoted to try to give traveling people an easier way to use public transportation, and giving for our partners, so the carriers, a degree of digitalization and service to the travelers higher rather than the one they autonomously be able to provide. We have still to develop some area in concerning, especially as I mentioned, the effective and proactive travel companion, and of course finding solutions that allow us to complete somehow our offer also to service to destination in an effective way. Just to mention the business model, which I didn't see in other presentation, and which I think anyway it could be a relevant topic of confrontation between us, because economic sustainability of this of MaaS platform anyway I think are in the longer run an issue. We work without charging any fees to the travelers, so they buy exactly the same price they can buy directly from the direct channel of each carriers, and we sales and distribute the services, so charging small fees on the carriers for the activity we do. But I don't want to hide you that this model is very challenging to use a very nice expression in that sense. As I mentioned, we are covering right now in a completely integrated way all the mobility, so public transport, rail, long haul, and ferries. We are some direct integration or indirect integration with taxi and parkings and car sharing and bike sharing. Especially we find very difficult to collaborate with car sharing activities and anyway sharing activities. In a sense, they are very proud of having the transaction on their own platform, which somehow makes a little poorer the user experience within the environment. And also, we have integrated destination-related offer, mainly hotels, hospitality, generally speaking, so rent, etc., and events and museums, but through the main aggregator. I mean, I have we make a sort of partnership with bookings for the hospitality and with amusement for what concerns the museums, events, and so on. And we're planning to include also the instance insurances, so in order to give the opportunity to recover money for the people who buy services that then is not able to use, and to assure a medical assistance if needed during travels, etc. And this is more or less the situation in which we have, aiming to evolve both on terms of trying to enlarge our footprint on the people who travels to service at destination and inspiring travels, rather than being a pure operational tool in order to help during a transfer. And we are moving to be more oriented to the destination-related offer in order to be consistent also for tourism and not only on commuting or anyway on local domestic transportations. I just had finishing the presentation to share with you that we are matching more or less the same experience that Jean-Baptiste mentioned before, in the sense that we were mainly used as a sort of digital ticketing machine. So I spent practically last year at 90% of my sales on a single ticket purchasing. Rather, we are much more moving in a post-COVID experience with a significant growth of the journey planner and so integrated sales of our ticket. Even if we hardly go beyond the two tickets, the two services, which are mainly public transportation and train, or train plus taxi at destination. So it's still a bit rare that people use these tools in order to buy composed tickets, door-to-door tickets. We see that use a lot the journey planner, but the redemption of the journey planner towards the direct ticketing is much lower. So we guess that people use the journey planner in order to planify the things, but buy just one ticket or a couple of them. So this is a bit the approach. And for terminating, I think that the two areas that Jean-Baptiste mentioned in his, I guess, the second slide or something like that, with the alert sign of the high cost of visibility on the web. So high cost of marketing is really true. So I think that we are thinking about how to be much more consistent and visible to the people who is traveling on our trains, on our vehicles. And the other step is to try to offset a bit the enormous cost of integrating different systems, trying to having a more extended partnership with local experience that are already there, or anyway to try really to federate rather than to purely include path of this development. So this is more or less our state of the art.
Thanks very much, Renzo, and thanks also for the connection you made with SNCF. Maybe it would be nice that later you make a question to Jean-Baptiste and Jean-Baptiste makes a question to you. I think there are...
Just a last one, since I see that Jean-Baptiste is there, also RENFE is there. Frankly, I do think that we have also to make a reflection, I would say mainly in the tourism side, if a sort of federation of other national initiatives on a European level would not be an interesting tool for after the COVID crisis will have gone, to be an effective tool to visit Europe with a sort of single digital experience in traveling, but consistently helping people from long haul to Europe to travel using public transportation, trains, etc., in an easy way. So in that sense, I guess that this will be probably things to reflect on, also in a vision of avoiding that some GAFA will come and do the job, reducing in a very consistent way the EBIT of our core business of other groups.
Very good proposal, Renzo, and I think UIC is there also to make this happening. So we will consider this into the door-to-door project, and maybe Lucy Anderton and Marie-Louise Philippe can maybe follow up or just take this proposal. I think that Jean-Baptiste and Bruno agree with this idea, and UITP this morning made also a proposal of having a connection of all European tools. So I think it's a very good idea, and in order to break only the Mediterranean connection of the Mediterranean cousins, I include now Rahel Kaenel from Swiss Railways SBB that can be also part of this proposal. I saw Rahel saying yes to the proposal by Renzo already, but can you please tell us more about SBB's developments? I remember in the workshop in Warsaw of the UIC door-to-door project in 2019, SBB presented an initiative that I think it was a testing experience. It was the green class. I don't know whether it has still there or you have something new. Tell us more, please.
Thank you. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So, yes, hello. Also from my side. No, I was not there in Warsaw. It was a colleague of mine with Green Class. We were working in the same department. Now I'm here today. I would like to present you UMove. It's a MaaS bundling pilot project in Switzerland. At the beginning of 2019, we had an idea at SBB, the Swiss Federal Railways, how we can improve the mobility in the cities, especially for city dwellers. I will present you our idea, give you an insight what we have done so far and what we still want to achieve. My colleagues and I had an idea that we are convinced that the time has come for a new form of mobility that combines the possibilities of urban mobility in easy, funny, and a sustainable way. Now we want to set out this idea into the reality. That's not only us from SBB. Because SBB is not mainly active in the urban transport, we have joined forces with the regional transport companies. The transport companies in Zurich, Basel and Bern and SBB are pooling their resources together to work on the previously explained idea. For this reason, we founded UMove. Together, we have set the following focus for UMove. UMove is a pilot project and runs in the 3 cities for 1 year. In Switzerland, subscriptions for public transport are widespread, especially among the urban population. Therefore, UMove also focuses on subscriptions. With our research partner, it's ETH in Zurich, we want to find answers to defined questions in connection with MaaS and bundling. Here you can see an extract of our question catalog. Our aim is to get more information about the acceptance of MaaS in Switzerland at the end of the pilot project. And if and how we want to proceed after with UMove after the pilot project, it's completely open and it depends on the results. Let's have a look at our product. First of all, the app represents the key to urban mobility, which includes a variety of transport modes. With UMove, you get access to e-bikes, e-scooters, car sharing and public transport. UMove provides you also with timetable information of public transport, route planning, buying a ticket and booking a vehicle. Let's have a closer look at the app. On the first screen, you can see the overview of all integrated mobility options in a city. Each dot represents an option. Second and third screen show the details and allow you to open the desired vehicle directly. In screen 4, you can see the route planning and the timetable. Screen 5 shows you an example of an intermodal routing. The customer can see how he can get from the actual location to the car by feet, and from there how he can get to the final destination by car. In UMove, we only integrate MSPs who offer a level 3 integration. This means the API from the MSP must be able to show the availability, make a reservation and a booking, and settle the payment. There is no link to the native app of the provider. Our goal is to integrate different MSPs and transport modes. We strongly believe this is the only way we can make a good offer to the target group, the urban population. In Switzerland, we have the challenge that not all MSPs are active in all the 3 cities, and we do not have so a lot of MSPs in Switzerland. Up to now, we integrated the VOI, tier, bond, mobility, and public transport tickets from the local companies. We started with UMove almost 2 months ago, and last week in Basel. Bern will follow in January. The products of UMove are the mobility subscriptions. Here you can see the subscription from Zurich. The aim of UMove is to create an attractive and simple multimodal mobility offer for city dwellers, which leads to leave their own car more often or not using it at all. For this purpose, different mobility subscriptions will be developed and tested on the market. This slide shows you how the subscription looks like in the app. Every subscription customer sees whenever he wants how many free minutes he still has left, When he has used up all his free minutes, he can use UMove in pay-per-use mode. The subscription will be automatically renewed by 13 days if the customer has not cancelled the subscription by himself in the app. What we reached so far. In early September, with the go live in Zurich, the media wrote about the pilot project. Furthermore, we were awarded as a top 5 project in the Austrian Traffic Club. 338 projects applied for the award. Last month, we collected customer feedback for the first time to get an impression. Here you can see a selection of them. We will interview our customers at frequent intervals in order to gain important insights for product development. Our next steps, first of all, we would like to promote the start in Basel and prepare the launch in Bern. We also want to design new bundles in Zurich and bring them to the market. It will be also necessary to integrate further MSPs. Yes, I hope I was able to give you a short insight about UMove. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rahel, for this very, very interesting. I really liked this all 4 presentation, and also now I would like to go into the cities and use them by myself. Of course, we know we are based in Rome as a foundation, so we know very well Nugo. But really, it seems like there are different options, but very common level of advancement. And it's very interesting now to see how in a few months this has going up and is the evolution of this. So now, before we go to the next speakers, let's have some questions to this speaker. So first of all, I have a question for Jean-Baptiste. There is a question about the new law of mobility that has been published in France. I think it's the Loi l'Organisation de la Mobilité. And the question is, what has changed after this new law? Because in Italy, we are, for example, studying this law as an example of ruling with a very wide approach, the mobility, in particular about data openness, so open data. Has something changed in your work and in SNCF approach? You have to open up your mic, please. Okay. Now you closed it again. Okay, now it's okay. We still don't see you. Maybe there is. Open it. Okay, we do it from here. Okay, try and speak. No, maybe you deactivated your microphone. Check. Is there anybody who raised the hand? I cannot see. No, okay, we cannot hear you, Jean-Baptiste. Maybe you have a disconnection in the microphone. I'm sorry. I have a question for Camille, but she's coming back. I cannot see her. And I have a question from Camille to Renzo. So Camille is asking, is it a unique app for European tourists or a single personal account containing client personal data able to communicate with API with any mobility as a service app in any country? Can you open up your microphone?
Raimondo, I think now it's okay for me.
Okay, thanks. So, okay, please go, Jean-Baptiste.
Okay, concerning the LOM, the law that changed the organization of mobility. In fact, this law gave an important power to the local authorities. That's the first issue. They can organize the transport in their area. So as you can see in Paris, Île-de-France Mobilité today is really a competitor for us. So that's very strange, since in fact Île-de-France Mobilité is at the same time a provider or a customer for Translien, for example, the rail carrier operator of SNCF for this area, and we compete for distribution together, and we need access to data, to real-time data information. So the change in this law is the access to real time. Previously, the actors gave access to theoretical information. It's normal traffic, but not the real situation, and also how to plot or to view where are the means of transport. So that is one major change. The issue linked is at what price, what is the cost of the access to this data, and what we fear, as Renzo mentioned, is that the GEFA, if we give the access almost free, but the problem is that even if we assume that it's expensive, for GEFA it's still cheap. So difficult situation, in fact. So how we how we can still have control on over our data. And what is also very special is that, for example, for Apple, for Google, they monitor the way we can access to our customers, and the way we can have access to their approval, or for geolocation, for personalized merchandising. So it's not really balanced. So that's the kind of discussion we have with the regulators, how we can set up a balance relationship with these actors.
Okay, thanks very much, Jean-Baptiste. Renzo, we know there was an exchange with Camille about your app. Can you just tell us briefly your point?
Briefly, the point, I mean, it was an idea, since our app, Nugo, it's only domestic based. So we just manage things happening in Italy. Of course, the idea I was suggesting is to have a sort of federation of our relevant national tools and platforms that we are building up, that try to allow ideally a unique, as unique as possible experience for the travelers, sort of Schengen approach, a unique approach, of course, with single sign-on systems, or something that helps anybody, any single actor, to protect their own data, the relationship with the guest, etc., etc. By the way, I think that in this next generation approach, and giving the digital issue that the European community still have, it could be a nice pilot, I would say, to think about a sort of global approach concerning mobility in the coming period, which, by the way, I think is in the interest of the community, because if we all have a margins, the industrial margins of the railway business squeezed by a growth in terms of intermediation and distribution by third party outside Europe, I guess it would be quite a large problems in order to assure the services that our companies are providing even with no margin at all, but for, of course, social and issues of linking and public service in the communities.
Okay,
I don't know if I answered the point.
Thanks very much. We need to go quickly now to the next session, but before this, I have a very just 10-second question for Jean-Baptiste and Rahel. I remember that in 2005, SNCF was a forerunner in a journey planner. I think it was SNCF Voyage having already a journey planner that I was living in Paris and I used it at the time. And it was a journey planner. It was a forerunner also because it has an environmental calculation in that called eco-comparateur. So just in 10 seconds to Jean-Baptiste and Rahel, what about environmental sustainability advantages? Do you plan to include them or not? Jean-Baptiste?
Yes, we put this approach as also the imperational approach today. Things the first step is to connect the offers, to connect the inventories. But after this first step, yes, the environmental, how to in fact how to refund, how to give generosity to our customers, to our users, when they use in preference transport, means of transport that are sustainable, it will be the next step. But today we still have to connect all the inventories we want to gather.
Okay, thanks. And Rahel?
For UMove, actually, during the next 3 months, no, we don't integrate it.
Okay, so Rahel said that in the 4th month, they will introduce it. Maybe.
Maybe.
Okay. Thanks very much to all the speakers. The session was really interesting. Now I move quickly to the next 3 speakers. So I thank very much Bruno Espinar from RENFE. Now we move to Spain. Bruno, let us know, because you are the manager of Mobility 4.0 and Innovation in RENFE. Let us know what you're doing, your latest news.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, I have to assign okay. Sorry, how can I share my presentation? I don't usually use this tool, GoToMeeting, and I don't know how can I do.
Can somebody show Bruno's presentation?
Yes, please. Can you see my screen or not?
No, we can see you. You should share your screen by clicking on the button of sharing the screen. Is one of the buttons that you have in the list of your dashboard of GoToWebinar. You see, okay, after the camera green button, then there is one button, and then there is. Okay, maybe we try to do it from here.
Okay.
No, it's it seems like.
Sorry.
Just a second.
Okay.
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 Now we meet.
Thank you.
And yeah, you have to say next slide, please. You can say it also in Spanish. We like it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Bruno Espinar. I'm the manager of mobility and digital innovation of RENFE Operadora. First of all, I would like to give thanks to the organization for inviting us to this meeting. And I will take this opportunity to talk about RENFE as a service, one of the most transformative and ambitious projects at RENFE. Next page, please. Thank you. Okay, but let me start with a brief description of the context of mobility. There has been a paradigm shift in mobility sector driven by innovation, the disruption of the digitalization of the fourth industrial revolution, the growth of platforms economies, and in our case, the European rail market opening. Thus, digitalization and the growth of the platform economies has promoted an important effect on the mobility sector, with the appearance of many different players completely new in. To face all these challenges, RENFE approved its strategic plan for the period 2019-2028, in which mobility as a service was introduced as one of the priorities among others. Next page, please. Can you? Okay, thank you. Mobility as a service is the new paradigm of mobility, and it needs a cultural change. Transport operators must be able to create bridges through a strategic alliance with the new players like telecoms providers, IT providers, new and conventional payment systems, or online booking agencies like Booking, eDreams, Rumbo, and Airbnb, etc. Due to all the changes that I have mentioned, mobility has some special features that we must consider. It has to be sustainable and economic, environmental, and social way. It must be multimodal or intermodal, and it will include conventional and non-conventional modes, and transport operators like RENFE have to go one step further in order to not become a commodity of platforms economies with no assets. Next page, please. Okay. Well, in this sense, RENFE as a service is the name of the project that we are currently developing. This project is part of our strategy plan. Our aim is not only to continue being a leading international railway company, but also an end-to-end multimodal mobility operator. It will completely change the way RENFE offers its services, going together with the passenger during the whole journey, even if only a part of it's made using our trains. This is so important for us. Our platform will be an open, public, and inclusive platform, which will provide a personalized customer experience. Using open data, big data, IoT, and thanks to the all new customer channels that we will implement, RENFE will become an end-to-end mobility operator very soon. Next page, please. Innovation is part of our DNA. That's why in our strategic plan, we want to reach 3% of our incomes in research and development. And innovation has been also a key for the development and of the project, as we made a proof of concept on October last year with more than 500 Madrid-Barcelona regular customers. And it was possible thanks to one of the startups of our accelerator, Train Lab. We made that with IOMOB. Other operators were participating in this proof of concept, like Cabify, Carhu, EMT, TMB, Consortium of Transport of Madrid, Saba Parking, and Cirque, creating a mixed team, having proven to be efficient as a way to solve business needs with the expertise of a company with more than 75 years of history, together with the innovation ecosystem. Next page, please. Well, which services will RAS offer? Once the platform will be able, our customer will be able to choose between many different modes of transport, conventional and new ones, public and private, but all part of the new mobility ecosystem. Medium and long distance trains, commuter services, and high-speed trains as the backbone of the system, but also metro, taxis, buses, car sharing, motor sharing, scooters, or even planes, and another ancillary services like hotels and restaurants. Our goal is single app, single ticket, single payment. Next page, please. Well, this is the basic architecture of the platform. In this sense, RAS will be a complex platform, and it will need different components of technology which have to be integrated in order to provide unique and global vision for RENFE. Next page, please. Thank you. Okay. During last year, we have been working hard in order to develop the best MaaS platform in 3 different ways. First of all, meetings with suppliers, platform and operators, market research with integrators and IT providers, business negotiation with public and private mobility suppliers, and with consortium and transport authorities. The second step, we had made the preparatory tenders, like the technical assistant, customer experience and brand design, and the project office management. In third step, tender for RENFE as a service platform, business case and partnership model with all the technical specifications and functional requirements, risk-benefit model with our partnership, and the tender was approved on Monday in our board of directors, and it's already launched. Can you? Thank you. Okay, but overall, this is a project that reflects the aim of RENFE to become a world mobility leader, a project that mixes innovation, customer experience, and technology. In our strategic plan, we don't want to be only the reference rail company in Spain, but also to become an end-to-end mobility operator, integrating all kinds of models, public or private, from car sharing platforms to scooters, with the offer of RENFE as a service backbone of a sustainable system.
Right.
Okay, and that's all. Thank you very much for your time and attention.
Thanks very much, Bruno, and thanks also for the presentation. And we see that your goal is to have it implemented in 26 Spanish cities. It's a huge ambition. So we look for. We will watch you. We will invite you to the next steps and see how is it going. Okay. Thanks very much. Now, unfortunately, we have not too much time for the questions, but we have enough time for the final two speakers, and I'm very glad to have with us Brazil and Netherlands. First of all, I would like to ask Joubert Flores. Am I pronouncing your name well, Joubert Flores? Thanks for the patience of having followed everything so far and waiting. I don't know if Kees from Netherlands, do you have enough time to stay with us for the next 20 minutes at the maximum, or do you have to leave, Kees? Open up your microphone, please. It doesn't seem okay. Maybe we can try starting from Joubert from Brazil. Joubert is the technical director of SkyRail and chairman of the board of the National Association of Passenger Rail Operators in Brazil. So welcome.
Thank you, Raimondo. I don't know if you can see my screen. It's open here.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So thank you so much for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here. As you mentioned, I'm the chairman of an association in Brazil that joined all rail passenger operators. But unfortunately, I'm afraid that I will disappoint you because our stage of development in MaaS is not so good. It's not so. We have a very big potential. I'll try to explain to you, but you need to do much more to use this possibility. Okay. So of course we are trying to talk a little about technologies or concepts, but I will not insist in this particular issue. Here we have a definition that you understand is good. We need to integrate, of course, with the digital platform, but you should consider as the backbone of the mobility, the mass mobility, the trains. I will try to explain why it's so important for us in this moment. And the basis of this is try to integrate an interconnected solution, connectivity, but you have some worries in this pink ball. That's the first one is about data security, and after this we need to improve a lot about georeference, geolocalization to allow us to use better apps and MaaS as we want to do. It's important to say too that a lot of underground stations in the systems in Brazil, they have not yet Wi-Fi or Pico system that allowed us to use the apps in the proper way. But this context here, I will try to explain why you are here in Brazil one step back to use this kind of device. Of course, you have an urban context with the climate changes and cultural changes and the worries about public health. This is an important point. I know that all over the world, all mobility systems lost a lot of passengers with the crisis, with the pandemic. In Brazil, the situation was very hard. In the worst situation, we lost 80% of our ridership. Nowadays, even when you are recovering the economy, we will still moving only 50% of the ridership you had before the crisis. So this is a huge impact. And the explanation for this is here in Brazil, 70% of the person travel for work, and we still have 20 or 30% working from home. We have a high level of unemployment, and people that need to travel, they have afraid to use systems, so they are using private car. That's a bad option, but you need to improve, for sure, tools that try to attract and facilitate the use of public transport. So that's the potential I mentioned before. And the other side, we talk about connectivity and electronic validation. This point we are good. We have the majority accepts NFC payment systems, but it's another important point is about the demographic transformation. Brazil has 210 million inhabitants, and this population, 85% lives in cities, and this urbanization was very fast. 70 years ago, we had only 70 million inhabitants. So in 70 years, the population tripled. But at this time, only 20% of the population lived in cities. So the population tripled in 70 years, but the size of the cities multiplied for more than 10 times. So it has an infrastructure to serve people is a big challenge for us here. So of course, this is what the apps we have had do it. As I mentioned, we need to improve our geo-reference to have this working properly. It's as a first step to achieve this kind of goal. We are now trying to make a tender to implement the 5G. So is a federal government issue just now. Use in the same way all these tools we only have in Brazil, besides the payment with apps, with cell phone, we have only some connections with theater or cinemas, and 2 or 3 connections with Uber or 99. But depends, of course, on the infrastructure of network inside the underground stations. Here is an example in São Paulo. São Paulo is one of our big cities. As I mentioned, Brazil has 25 metropolitan regions with more than 1 million inhabitants. São Paulo, particularly, is our big city, with the metropolitan region joined 21 million people. So the use of micromobility and also the push to use the active mobility with bikes and it's an important goal to put it together with this new concept of MaaS. Of course, you have a concern with the use of data. In Brazil, you are in the beginning of we have a new law to protect data, but to use properly. And here you can. I forgot to say that you have had a good platform to inform our customers in trains, which is the carriage with less, which are more places to use to try to avoid the crowd inside the cars. Okay. And this is about the cultural transformation and also to connect with the business intelligence improvement. we understand as a possibility to give more than mobility to the passengers, but to provide a service, including to increase with the technology the possibility to have a real-time maintenance to improve the reliability and the availability of our systems. We have to achieve the status that is already arriving in Europe or in other parts in Asia, to have a door-to-door option of transportation, of course, on-demand transportation, with the tools as Alexia, Siri, and all that was the place with the machine learning. And this is for us more easy to implement. Is about the option to have to inform better information to our customers about incidents, about the best way to leave the systems and achieve any kind of place they want to go. And we are, one city in Brazil is using face recognition, not as in China that they use including to pay the system, but you already use in the city of Salvador in Bahia. So that's my presentation. We really are here to know, and it was very important for us because I will try to share the very important information and the development of other systems here. And I'd like to thank you again for the opportunity to tell about us in Brazil, our difficulties and our goals. And I'm here to try to answer any question. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much, Joubert, for this very interesting presentation. Unfortunately, we don't have time for the questions, but what I've seen is that today, I think we opened and we launched a cooperation that can be established with UIC. So I will ask Vanessa Barres and Lucy Anderton that maybe UIC can establish like a network of the mobility as a service in the railways and public transport, so that we can meet up maybe every 2 or 3 months and exchange the best practices. Okay, so thanks very much. Okay. And now the last presentation before we go to the next session that will be chaired by Vanessa, the session of railways back on sustainable transport system. So 10 minutes for Kees. Thanks very much for being with us. Tell us about Netherlands and NS. And I've seen Vanessa. Maybe we can show Vanessa just to say that we will have a short break after Kees' presentation of 5 minutes, and then we will start the session. Okay, thanks very much. So Kees, now the floor is yours.
Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes. Yes.
I'm waiting for the slides to be shown. That would do. Valeria told me she would show the slides.
You don't have to believe what Valeria tells you. Never believe Valeria. But I guess the slides are coming. I think they are.
That was what we discussed. Okay. Thank you. I see the slides coming, so that's good. Before I tell some more about the door-to-door services of Dutch railways, more the physical services than the digital services. In
yes,
the last,
we can see the slide, so it's.
Yeah. Can you show me the next slide, please? Thank you. Next slide. In the last 10 to 15 years, together with our partners, the Dutch rail track company ProRail, the Ministry of Transport and the local authorities, we developed several door-to-door services. Since a few years, we combined these services in one department at the NS Stations organization, including some essential non-mobility services like waiting, toilets and luggage loggers. Next slide, please. Offering a complete door-to-door service with our partners is our goal. In customer services, we found that travelers experience the time and hassle going to and from the station as twice as long and hard as the in-train time. That was a reason for Dutch Railways to invest and innovate in door-to-door services to gain more travelers choosing the train. Next slide, please. In the last 10 to 15 years, we saw the growth of 15% from people coming by train to the station, what means now that we almost have 50% coming by bikes to the stations in Holland. Also investing in better and safer park and ride facilities, and our new bike sharing system OVFiets made new travelers choose for the train instead of going the whole trip by car. Next slide, please. In developing our services, we look on the package of services we offer at different types of stations, taking care that services are available at all times during the train services, attractive pricing, and we conduct customer services surveys on regular basis in the train about our mobility services by asking our customers in trains. Next slide, please. Between 2005 and 2015, we invest together with the Ministry of Transport, the local and regional government, and NS in more than 40,000 new and renewed extended parking places. We have now 55 paid park and ride stations where the travelers who go by train have a 50% reduction in the parking costs, and the rest of our parking facilities are for free. Next slide, please. A big project initiated by the government in 2000 is extending the bike parking places, guarded and non-guarded. ProRail, our rail track partner, is in charge of building the bike facilities. NS Stations operates the guarded bike shelters. Together, we run an innovation program on bike facility services, and we have three kinds of guarded facilities: lockers, self-service bike shelters, and staffed bike shelters. Next slide, please. A big success is the 24 hours free guarded bike parking. People check in with their public transport smart card and check out at the service desk or at the self-service bike lane. For parking longer than 24 hours, people pay by debit card or monthly afterwards on their account. Next slide, please. Here you see someone leaving the recently renewed self-service bike shelter, all 24 hours free parking. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. We are now working on an innovation for the guarded bike shelters with bike lanes or check-in, check-out poles, like you see here on the photos. The aim is making the check-in and check-out process faster and cheaper. Less people needed and lower cost for guarding the bike shelter. After a successful test on 2 locations, we start now implementing these services on 10 locations. Next slide, please. Finding enough place for still growing enormous amounts of bikes near the big intercity station is more and more a problem in Holland. Also finding the funding for the big bike shelters is a big challenge. Not only the building costs of up to 5,000 euro per place is difficult, but also and especially the yearly cost for operating and maintaining the 24 hours free bike shelters is difficult. And as Dutch Railways takes 1/3 of the operating cost, of the loss of the operating cost, and the rest is to be paid by the local and regional governments. Then now some information about our public transport bike sharing system OV Fiets. We focus in the development and locations. We focus on the train stations and the public transport hubs. We did some pilots with OV Fiets as a city bike, but the conclusion was we should focus on trains and public transport mobility services. Keeping up the growth of OV Fiets, our bike sharing system, is already a big challenge for us at the moment. Next slide, please. OV Fiets, our bike sharing system, is a very easy bike sharing system. You start with the rent with your personal public transport card. After bringing it back, you will be monthly charged on your personal bank account for the times you rented the bike that month. You rent these bikes for 24 hours a day for €4. Next slide, please. Apart from big rent locations where bike shelter staff will support you by the rent, you see here on the right Utrecht Central Station, the amount of bikes we have there. We also offer self-service locations where you can rent without staff, personal, you can rent your bike sharing system. From our customer services, we see that OV Fiets is a very product where everybody is very satisfied about. Next slide, please. Thank you. In the last 3 to 5 years, we saw a very fast growth of our public transport bike OV Fiets, especially since there are no membership costs per year to be paid. You only have to register yourself once, and then you can take at every station and location in 330, more than 300 locations in Holland, you can rent a public transport bike, not only at train stations, but also on public transport hubs. Next slide, please. We are now working on a new concept of the OV Fiets with a smart lock to open with your public transport card and a more easy way on self-rental locations. This will be implemented the next 2 years. That was about our developments in public transport services from Dutch Railways Stations Organization. Also, of course, from our traveler organization, we are working on mobility services, digital bringing together, of course, but this is mere the physical side of our services.
Okay, thanks very much, Kees, for a very interesting presentation all about the physical integration. And it's very good because in this era of digital things and lockdown, it's very good to end up the presentation with the physical integration in the station. So thanks, everybody. I would like to thank all the speakers. And now I give the floor in 5 minutes to Vanessa Perez for the next session. Please stay with us with USE and door-to-door project and the passenger department. Thanks very much, and hope to see you soon in 5 minutes.